In no more public news.
No more public.
Oh no.
Submitted by Bell Bump. Public school students in Arizona are now eligible for a scholarship program that helps fund for private school tuition. Howdy, y'all.
So no more public school?
Nah, it was just like a clickbaity title.
Oh.
They're still public school. So a lot of teachers are saying that this is the beginning to the end of public school.
What do you mean? How?
Tell me the detail.
Okay, so
Tell me the details.
Let's make my stone rockin' and lovin' a rock and roll in a distant way.
I did not expect him to take off on that song. Okay.
You didn't know a single fucking lyric in that whole thing. This motherfucker committed all the way through the bat swing. I bet the bottom.
I know you didn't stop. You made a fun in my soul. And then he looks at us like, go. Continue, Tiff.
Alright, so all public school students are now eligible, in Arizona, are now eligible for an empowerment scholarship accounts program. So previously, students needed to meet requirements, which were to be disabled, foster students, active duty military kids, Native American kids, or those attending failing schools. That used to be the requirements, but now it's open to all students. And so
With this fund, you can go to a private school?
So what this is doing is allowing parents to use their child's share of state-educated funding to pay for private school tuition, homeschooling costs, tutoring, and online education, as well as therapies for the disabled.
Cool.
It does sound really cool, but there's also a lot of people against it because they're saying
What are they saying? Because it just sounds like paradise.
So what critics are saying is that this will drain more money from underfunded schools or public schools, and it will cost taxpayers way more money. They're also saying that this will eventually lead to the demise of the public education school system in total. They're also saying that the amount of money in the accounts given to these students are too little for low-income students to afford high-quality private education. And so they're saying that the main people that will benefit off of this is wealthy parents that will just use that public money, like money for public schools, to fund their child's education, and then they could just pay the extra. So they're kind of getting like a discount, I guess.
For people who already have money.
Exactly.
People who already have money, though, that money probably doesn't mean anything to them. I think that's the perspective from a poor person.
Yeah, that's what Democrats are saying.
Yeah.
So then Republicans are saying that this is a good thing because this allows children from low-income families to escape failing public schools. But this has already been proven false because there's been a study showing that 75% of participants they came from good schools. So that doesn't
Well,
really...
yeah, I mean, I've said this on this channel multiple times before. Money doesn't solve these type of issues. It all starts at the home. And I'm telling you because I worked at after-school programs. Like, you cannot throw money at kids who do not find a value in education. It doesn't work.
Or families.
Stupid parents make a stupid children.
That's exactly what it is. So it's like, after school programs have been some of the most effective shit because you give them a place where they can come and it kind of creates a positive environment. This stuff, it doesn't fucking work. Like, I'm telling you, if you've ever worked with kids, especially like disadvantaged youth, it doesn't work. You tell a kid like, yo, I'll give you this and that if you read this book. I don't give a fuck about this shit because they don't give a fuck about it. So this,
I did.
It doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work, and it's been proven that it doesn't work. I don't understand why people still don't get it.
You give me more books, I'm gonna tag in them.
So another thing that supporters are saying is that this works best for parents with disabled students, and especially because these students, they don't get the resources needed in public schools. So they can get that in private schools.
Oh, because there could be like disabled private schools or something, and then they can send their kids to that special place?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a so smart time.
I get what they're coming from, though. So there's already a huge disparity in like public schools in a good area and a public school in a shitty area. And then you have people that are going to like, I guess, a really good private school. So the disparity of education is so crazy. I think they're just thinking, how can we kind of level the playing field a little bit? And if we give some of the people in a bad area some money, maybe they can send some of their kids into the private school area.
I see that. I think it would be better for them to put that money into a system where you make it accessible for people who are already in an underprivileged area, versus having to send the brightest people to an already smart area. You know what I mean? Like, focus on these underprivileged, like underfunded areas. And
That's what it sounds like, though. It sounds like the Republicans or the more wealthy people, they're telling the less wealthy people, hey, here's your chance to send your kids to my kid's school.
Oh no, but he's saying
that's exactly opposite what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Don't
he's saying
send
the
them there. Put those here. You know, so you put
Make the shitty schools better.
and you put that into those programs, and you
That's what
open
the
up.
Democrats are saying.
Exactly. So that's the smarter thing to do.
David's a Democrat and Bart's a Republican.
I'm actually not.
I think it's tough though. It's hard to like, you know, like kind of going back with what you're saying. If it starts at the family, so like usually when you're in a shitty neighborhood, like let's say all 10 of the families don't really give a fuck about school. Like maybe 9 out of 10 don't give a fuck about school. There is that one family that does care about school. It's gonna be easier to send that one kid to a nicer school, and then he at least gets what he wants, than to change the entire school system, but you still got 9 other families.
I'm not talking about changing the whole school system. I'm talking about adding a supplemental program.
Additional program.
You can do it after school.
Yeah.
And those things do work 100%. So instead of like having to take up and flip the whole world, you leave it open to all these kids, and they don't have to fight for these spots. If it's already there, those kids can go. It's kind of like those
YMCA or a Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And they work really, really well. But they keep on trying to take some of the brightest students and put them in already affluent areas. And that's not what needs to be, in my opinion anyways, from what I've seen, you know? Because I think those kids too, they still need to be there. Because there still has to be people who set examples in that school. Yeah. And you take away the brightest students from these schools, that's not fair. Yeah. You know?
That's all true.
Yeah, so they're saying that the average size of an account for like per student, this is average because there's like a range. The average is $5,700 a year for children without disabilities and $9,000 for children with disabilities. So that's how much money will be put into these accounts for the parents to...
Per the student or whatever.
For their parents to decide what they want to do with that money for their kids' education. Yeah, and so they're saying that the funds are distributed via debit cards.
That's dope, but a private school is way more than that. Some private schools are like 12, 17 G's a year.
That's exactly the point of the Democrats. So they're saying that private school tuitions, they vary, but it ranges from $5,000 to $17,000 a year.
wow,
Yeah.
that's
And
so expensive.
It's like a college tuition.
And just because you say private school doesn't mean the education's gonna be better. There's a lot of private Christian schools out there that aren't up to par with the standards of regular, even the worst public schools, because they like to withhold
Pocket the money.
They like to withhold certain information. Like they don't want to teach evolution, or they don't want to teach certain things. So, you know, there's that argument too. Just because you go to a private school doesn't mean that your kid's gonna go become smarter or have more attention or all that stuff.
I mean, is there a requirement for you to get into a private school? Like you would have to take a test?
Pow, 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 pow.
So it's money, and then depending on which private school you go to, they assess the student, and they get to decide we want you or we don't.
Hey, what are those schools where those genius kids go to? Magnet schools.
Magnet school, or there's another name for it.
Because those schools too, like there's certain people that pay a certain amount of tuition for it, and they also headhunt for genius kids too, so they could pay for their tuition, so they could develop.
Yeah, I think that's really good because I feel like a lot of genius kids, they can't do well in regular
Like traditional schools.
Yeah, because they get picked on and fucked up and all kinds of stuff, or you know, they just don't fit in and they feel weird. But if they get it in with a group of people that are like-minded, you know, they'll feel like a comfort and safety around them.
I can see that. We had a kid that was like really smart, but he got picked on a lot.
Because he was probably socially stupid.
Yeah, a friend of mine in college, he went to a magnet school, and he says like the way they teach there was way different because they teach them how to problem solve instead of like giving them answers.
Instead of regurgitating.
Yeah, so they figure out their own methodology for having to solve things, even with like mathematical problems. So when I would see him, like even when we went to Riverside, he didn't do well because it was so structured, you know.
I don't do well.
Yeah, so it was hard for him. But then, like for example, when he got an S2K, that fool found out that the clutch was fucked up. He just disassembled the whole car and he put it back together and he fixed it himself. Like that's how his mind works.
Damn.
Do you guys think you're gonna be putting your kid in a private school?
For me, I don't really care about public or private. I just want the school to align with my ideals and beliefs and all that stuff.
I think when we're ready to when we're ready to take our kids to school, I probably want to go into every school and like talk to the faculty, see like what their teaching style is, what the curriculum is and stuff like that. Really get to understand the school, because I think like Joe was saying, some private schools actually aren't that good, because ultimately every single school is funded somehow, right? So private schools, the money comes directly from the parents' paychecks. Public schools, it comes from property tax, which is why the more affluent neighborhoods, like something like Beverly Hills or San Marino, if every home is $2 million, then 2% or 3%, whatever the property tax is, across $2 million, there's a fuck ton of money going into schools. Those schools, you'll see like their athletic programs are the best, their band is the best, the art is like every single program is the best. You go in the hood, no one owns a house, everything's a project, right? Then there is no property tax, so they're completely under.
So they're under. Oh.
So if you go to like a place like San Marino, where they just have like way more money than
It's like a university there.
yeah, it's probably way more. It's probably way more better funded than like a private school, like in a regular city.
I went to a public school, by the way. Way more better fun.
Too. University educated, but my English is constipated. Held back.
This man is ruining the English language single-handedly by himself.
He's
I be
teaching the new generation.
I be getting fucking messages. Hey, what's up, Mudda David? I'm like, bitch, what the fuck?
I get like Mudda Inspo, Mudda this, Mudda that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, you need to trademark that.
I don't care. Let the world use it.
You know, I think it's an Urban Dictionary.
Tough mudder. Tough mudder.
Hey, what is going on, JK News fans? Hope you guys liked that episode. Remember to follow our personal social medias, and of course, if you want to watch more videos, my friends, you know where to go, you cocksuckers. Right up there.